There is a mirror in your home that you have learned to walk past quickly, not because you dislike what you see, but because sometimes, in the corner of your reflection, you still catch a shadow that does not belong to the light in the room. You tell yourself it is exhaustion. You tell yourself it is the angle of the lamp, the hour of the night, the residue of a dream you cannot quite remember. But your body knows. Your body has known for longer than your mind has been willing to admit. And tonight, Spirit is not asking for your permission to speak. Tonight, Spirit is pulling the curtain back on a chapter of your life that you survived but never fully understood. You were not simply in a relationship with someone who was toxic or wounded or confused. You were in a relationship with something that wore human skin but was never human. And because you are Virgo, because your nature is to heal, to mend, to see the potential in what is broken, you stayed longer than anyone else would have. You stayed because you thought your love could reach the unreachable. You thought your patience could soften what was never meant to be soft. You were wrong. And more importantly, you were never meant to be right about that. You were meant to live through it, extract yourself from it, and arrive here at this exact moment so that what I am about to tell you can finally set you free. I need you to breathe with me before we go any further. Not the shallow breathing you have been doing for months, the kind that keeps you functional but never fully alive. I mean a real breath down into the part of your stomach that tightens every time you hear their name, down into the place between your shoulder blades that has carried a tension no massage has ever been able to release. That tension has a name. It is not stress. It is not anxiety. It is the physical memory of a contract you signed without knowing you were signing it, a contract written in the language of sacrifice and sealed with the oil of your own compassion. You gave pieces of yourself away thinking you were investing in a future, but the future was never the point. The harvesting was the point. And what harvested you was older than their childhood trauma, deeper than their attachment style, more calculated than any conscious human mind could manage. You were food. You were a battery. You were a garden being stripped of its fruit by something that knew exactly which roots to pull. Let me describe to you what a demon actually is, because I am not talking about horns and smoke and theatrical evil. I am talking about a consciousness that exists in the spaces between genuine emotion, a parasite that learns to mimic love so precisely that even the host body does not know it is possessed. The person you loved may not have known what was riding them. They may have believed their own lies. They may have cried real tears and whispered real apologies and made promises that, in the moment, they genuinely intended to keep. But something else was steering. Something else was watching you through their eyes, measuring your devotion, calculating how much more you could give before you broke. And every time you almost left, every time your intuition screamed at you to run, that something knew exactly which words to push through their lips to reel you back in. It studied you. It learned that your weakness was your desire to be useful, to be needed, to be the one who finally understood. And it played that note until your ears bled. Do you remember the first time you felt something was off? It was not a big moment. It was subtle. Maybe they looked at you for a fraction of a second too long after you told them good news, and in that micro moment, their eyes were flat, empty, like a house where everyone has moved out but the lights are still on. You dismissed it. You told yourself they were tired, they were guarded, they had been hurt before. But your spirit recoiled. Your spirit recognized what your heart refused to name. And from that moment forward, you were living in two realities simultaneously. There was the relationship you were trying to build, and there was the entity that was slowly dismantling you piece by piece, day by day, in ways so gradual that you normalize the theft. Think about your sleep during that time. You do not need to answer me out loud. Just remember, the quality of your rest changed. You either slept too much and woke up feeling as though you had been digging ditches all night, or you could not sleep at all because your mind was racing with a panic that had no specific target. You would lie in bed next to them and feel utterly alone, as if there were a wall of glass between your skin and theirs, and on their side of the glass, something was feeding. Sometimes you dreamed of them with different eyes, darker, ancient, eyes that looked at you not with desire but with appetite. You wrote those dreams off as stress. You should not have. Dreams are the one place where the entity could not fully maintain its costume, and your subconscious was trying to show you the face beneath the mask. You were being warned nightly by your own soul, and every morning you woke up and chose to forget. And your creativity, where did it go? You used to have ideas that buzzed. You used to wake up with solutions, with inspiration, with a sense that the world was waiting for what you had to offer. During that relationship, it was as though someone had placed a thick quilt over your inner fire. You could not write, you could not plan, you could not see your own future clearly. This was not depression in the clinical sense, though it may have been diagnosed as such. This was energetic suffocation. A demon does not want you to create, because creation is proof that you are still connected to Source, and Source is the one power that can dissolve its hold. So it systematically disconnected you from your joy. It manufactured crises that required your attention. It drained your hours with drama that never resolved, with problems that had no solutions, with chaos that demanded you drop everything to manage it. And every time you poured your energy into their black hole, you came back to yourself a little emptier, a little quieter, a little less sure that you had ever been special at all. But here is what Spirit needs you to understand with absolute clarity. This was not your fault. I know you have been carrying shame. I know you have been asking yourself how you could have been so stupid, so blind, so available to something that was destroying you. Stop. The shame does not belong to you. It belongs to the thing that fed on you, and that thing left its shame inside your body like a deposit before it left. You are not gullible. You are not weak. You are Virgo, which means you are wired to serve, to improve, to believe that order can be restored to any mess if only someone cares enough to clean it. That wiring is sacred. It is not a flaw. It was simply exploited by something that recognized your light as a resource. A garden is not foolish for growing roses where weeds were planted. The garden is simply doing what gardens do. The fault lies with the one who salted the soil. Let me tell you about the specific architecture of what was done to you, because understanding the mechanism is how you dismantle it. This entity did not attack you directly. It did not need to. It used the person you loved as a doorway, and once inside your field, it began to rearrange your reality from the inside out. It started with your standards. Slowly, imperceptibly, it lowered the bar of what you would accept. A forgotten anniversary became normal. A cruel word, followed by a tender apology, became your nightly rhythm. Your isolation from friends and family was framed as loyalty, as depth, as the two of you against the world. But the world was never the enemy. The enemy was the fog that settled over your judgment every time you tried to see clearly. You were being gaslit by something that did not have a conscience to appeal to, something for which guilt was a tool, not a burden. And then there was the sexual component. I am going to speak about this carefully, but I am not going to avoid it because it is where the feeding was most concentrated. When you were intimate with them, did you ever feel a sudden, inexplicable sadness afterward? Not the gentle melancholy of vulnerability, but a hollow, scraped out feeling, as if something had been scraped from the inside of your ribs? Did you ever find yourself crying in the shower afterward and not knowing why? That was not post-intimacy emotion. That was extraction. Your sacral energy, your life force, your creative power was being siphoned during the very moments when you were most open. And because you are a giver by nature, you gave even more when you sensed their emptiness, not realizing that the emptiness was a mouth that could never be filled. You were trying to satiate a hunger that predated their birth. The entity also interfered with your spiritual practices. Notice how during that relationship you stopped meditating, you stopped praying, you stopped doing the small rituals that used to center you. It was not because you were lazy. It was because something was actively repelled by your connection to the divine, and every time you tried to reach upward, it manufactured a distraction, a crisis, a need that pulled you back down. It hated your faith because your faith was the exit door and it could not risk you finding the handle. So it made your spiritual life feel heavy, boring, pointless. It convinced you that you had outgrown your practices or that they had never really worked anyway. This was strategic. This was warfare wearing the mask of indifference. Now, let me tell you why Spirit is bringing this to your attention right now. Not last year, not 6 months from now, now. Because the residue is still in your field. You may have ended the relationship. You may have blocked them, moved cities, burned photographs, sworn them off in therapy sessions, but there is a cord. There is a filament of energy that still pulses between your solar plexus and their field. And through that filament, they are still drinking. Not as much as before, not enough to collapse you, but enough to keep you tired, enough to keep your new manifestations slow, enough to make the new love that is trying to find you feel like it is stuck in traffic 3 blocks away, unable to reach your door. That cord is why you still think about them at odd moments. That cord is why your body still reacts as if you are in danger when you hear a song that played during that time. That cord is why you have not fully come back to yourself, even though you have done everything right to heal. And Spirit is saying it is time to cut it. Not gently, not gradually, completely, tonight. I want you to understand what is happening to them now, not because your peace depends on their suffering, but because the universe needs you to witness the justice that is unfolding so that you can finally release the part of you that still feels responsible for their well-being. They are not well. They are not thriving. Whatever mask they are wearing for social media, whatever new relationship they have used to replace you, whatever narrative they are spinning about why you left, it is crumbling. The entity that wrote them is turning on them now that you are no longer available as a food source. A parasite that loses its host either finds a new one immediately or begins to consume the vessel it inhabits. Spirit is showing me that their life is becoming a hall of mirrors. Their lies are catching up in ways that cannot be explained away. Their health is deteriorating in specific, mysterious ways that doctors cannot diagnose. Their new supply is already seeing the cracks, already feeling the same hollowness you felt, already waking up from the same dream. The tower is falling, but this time you are not inside it. You are standing on the lawn, watching the smoke rise, and the only thing you need to do is make sure none of the debris lands on your side of the fence. But more important than their downfall is your rising. Because here is what Spirit wants to place in the center of this message, the golden truth around which everything else orbits. You were never the victim of a demon. You were the target of a demon because you are a threat to the dark. Your light is not ordinary. Your capacity to love is not ordinary. Your discernment, now that it is being restored, is not ordinary. The dark does not waste its time on dim souls. It goes after the ones who could illuminate entire rooms if they ever fully woke up. You were attacked because you are powerful, not because you are powerless. And the fact that you are still here, still breathing, still capable of compassion after what you walked through is proof that the light in you is stronger than any shadow that ever tried to swallow it. So let us talk about the cleanup. Let us talk about what needs to happen in your energy field, in your home, in your body, in your mind, so that you can reclaim the territory that was occupied. First, your physical space. There are objects in your environment that are still tuned to their frequency. I am not only talking about gifts they gave you, though those carry weight. I am talking about the chair they always sat in, the side of the bed they preferred, the playlist they curated that you still listen to when you are feeling nostalgic. Nostalgia is a trap. Nostalgia is the cord wearing a disguise. Spirit is asking you to purge with intention, not out of spite, but out of sovereignty. Wash your sheets with salt. Open your windows and command that every frequency that does not belong to you leave. If you still have their clothing, their letters, their photographs, do not burn them in anger. Burn them in release. Or better yet, throw them into running water and let the current carry the last of their signature away from your field. Second, your body. The entity left deposits in your physical form, and your body has been trying to expel them through symptoms that have confused you. The chronic tension in your jaw, the way your throat feels tight when you try to speak your truth, the thyroid fluctuations, the sudden allergies that appeared during the relationship and never fully left. These are not random. These are the places where you swallowed your no. These are the places where you held back your scream. You need to move. Not exercise for fitness, but movement for exorcism. Dance in your room alone. Shake your limbs until they tremble. Yell into a pillow until your throat remembers its power. Your body is a temple, and for a time it was used as a rental property. It is time to evict the last of the squatters. Third, your dreams. They are trying to re-enter through your sleep because the waking you is now too guarded. You may have noticed an uptick in disturbing dreams, in visitations where they appear sorry or sexy or dangerous or all three. These are not dreams of processing. These are intrusions. Before you sleep tonight, place a glass of water by your bed with a pinch of salt. Speak aloud. My dreams belong to me. My rest is sovereign. Any frequency that does not serve my highest good is barred from this space. Say it 3 times. Mean it. The demonic cannot cross a threshold that is verbally and consciously defended. It relies on your silence. It relies on your politeness. Stop being polite to things that want to consume you. Fourth, your heart. You are terrified that you will never love again, or that if you do, you will bring this shadow into the new connection. Listen to me carefully. The demon did not take your capacity to love. It took your capacity to trust blindly. And that is not a loss. That is an upgrade. The next person who enters your life is not going to feel like a storm. They are going to feel like shelter, but they cannot arrive while you are still energetically married to your past. Every time you check their social media, every time you ask a mutual friend how they are doing, every time you let your mind wander into a fantasy where they finally understand what they lost, you are sending a signal to the universe that you are still occupied. You are still taken. And the universe, which is deeply respectful of free will not send your true match to a house that still has a noose hanging from the ceiling. I want to tell you about the person who is coming, because Spirit has shown me their energy, and it is important that you have something clean to look forward to after all this darkness. They are not flashy. They are not going to sweep you off your feet in a way that feels like drowning. They are going to be steady. They are going to ask you how you slept and mean it. They are going to notice when you are overwhelmed before you say a word. They are going to make you feel safe in a way that is almost boring compared to the chaos you survived. And your first instinct is going to be to distrust the calm because you have mistaken turbulence for passion. Do not run from this person. Do not test them with drama to see if they will fight for you. They are not a demon. They do not need to fight for you because they are not trying to possess you. They are trying to know you, and that knowing will happen slowly, gently, at a pace that allows you to unfurl without fear. But they are waiting. They are waiting for you to finish this exorcism. They are waiting for the last cord to be cut. They are waiting for the space in your chest that is currently filled with phantom pain to be emptied so that real warmth can move in. And they do not know they are waiting. They are simply living their life, becoming the person they need to be, so that when your fields are clear, the collision will be inevitable. Trust that collision. Trust that it is already scheduled by forces that love you far more than the thing that tried to destroy you ever could. There is one more thing Spirit needs me to say, and it is about your anger. You have been trying to be evolved about this. You have been trying to forgive, to understand, to send light and love to someone who used your light as a snack. Stop. You do not need to forgive the demon. You do not need to understand it. You need to evict it, banish it, and never think of it again. Forgiveness is a beautiful medicine, but it is meant for human wounds, not for parasitic infestations. You do not forgive a tick for giving you Lyme disease. You remove it, you heal, and you check your skin more carefully next time. Your anger is holy. Your rage is a boundary. Let it burn through the last of the guilt and leave you clean. You are not required to be the bigger person towards something that was never a person to begin with. Now, I want you to do something with me right now. Even if you are reading this at 3 a.m, even if you are on a bus, even if you feel ridiculous, place your dominant hand over your heart. Say your full name out loud, not your nickname, your full name. The one your parents gave you, the one that carries your soul's signature. Say, I reclaim my name. I reclaim my energy. I reclaim my body, my mind, my dreams, and my future. Everything that was taken without my conscious consent is returned to me now, multiplied and purified. I am sovereign. I am sealed. I am free. Feel that. Feel the way your chest rises when you speak yourself back into ownership. That is not imagination. That is the cord snapping. That is the entity losing its grip in real time. That is you coming home. In the weeks ahead, you are going to notice changes. Your sleep will deepen. Your skin will clear. Food will taste better. Music will move you. Again, you will have an idea, a real idea, the first one in a long time, and it will excite you enough to keep you awake, not from anxiety, but from anticipation. Someone will reach out to you, someone from your past or someone new, and the interaction will feel so easy that you will suspect a trap. It is not a trap, it is the new normal. It is what life feels like when you are not being harvested. You will walk into a room and feel your shoulders drop for the first time in years because no one in that room is trying to feed on you. And one night you will catch your reflection in that mirror you used to avoid, and you will see someone looking back at you who is not tired, not haunted, not older than their years. You will see yourself, and you will not look away. You do not need to thank the demon for the lesson. The lesson was not its gift to you. The lesson was your own resilience, teaching you what you are made of while something tried to break you. You do not need to wish them well. You do not need to hope they heal. That is their path, their karma, their reckoning, and it is already in motion without your participation. Your only job is to become so full of your own light that there is no room left for anything that requires your darkness to survive. The relationship is over. The haunting is ending. The exorcism is complete the moment you decide it is. So decide. Decide now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now. Because Spirit has been waiting to tell you this, and now that you have heard it, the information itself is the final key. Turn it, lock the door behind you, and walk forward into a life that is entirely, gloriously, irrevocably yours. You were never meant to be a meal. You were meant to be a beacon. And beacons do not apologize for their light. They simply shine until every shadow is forced to find somewhere else to hide. Shine now. Shine loudly. Shine without asking permission. The demon is gone, the temple is clear, and the altar is waiting for your name, written in gold, spoken in truth, honored at last.